Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. This is the weekend edition. We have a very special show for you today. On today's show, we're coming to you live on location from the French island of Groix. That's spelled G-R-O-I-X, but pronounced Groix. It's about 6 miles off the French coast on the Atlantic side. And today's show is a mini expose on an island that many of our listeners probably will not have heard of. The closest major city is Lorient, about 6 miles away, with a population of 250,000. The island measures 4 miles long by 1 mile in width and has a permanent population of about 2,000 people. If you've ever pictured an island perched high above the water with steep cliffs and small stone houses with panoramic, windswept views of the ocean, well, this is it. This is definitely a seasonal market and is considered a very active destination in the summer months. We came here by sailboat, and the main port, Port Trudy, has a number of floating docks that can hold about 120 boats, plus a number of mooring balls that can hold a similar number of boats as well. And they really pack in the boats very tightly. Last night we were 5 boats sharing a single mooring ball all rafted together. The island is serviced by 2 different ferry boats. One is a large ferry capable of carrying cars and trucks, several trips a day in both directions. There's also a smaller catamaran passenger ferry. The trip takes about 40 minutes. When we traveled here by sailboat, the trip took a couple of hours. The culture of the island dates back to the British and Irish heritage that is buried deep under the covers here in Brittany. We heard Irish fiddling and pipes across from the church and the main town square. A piece of island paradise here is fairly affordable, but not a bargain by any means. Houses are constructed out of stone and, more recently, out of cement blocks. The walls are traditionally very thick and look distinctly of a Brittany architecture with a steep pitched roof, usually covered in slate roofing shingles. The stone walls extend up the sides all the way up above the roof at the ends of the house, and there's usually a chimney at each end of the house. Staying on the island is pretty inexpensive. An average hotel room or short-term rental costs about €100 or $115 for a single night, even in peak season. In terms of homes for sale, there's one listing for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house with a large living area overlooking the water on the south side of the island. The purchase price is €475,000 plus a 6% commission payable by the buyer to the agent. This particular home is on a larger parcel of land and is one of the better homes in the area. Since everything on the island comes in by ferry boat, costs for most things are higher than on the mainland. For example, a fish and chips lunch platter in a cafe is about €18 to €20 versus €12 to €13 in a comparable restaurant on the mainland. Many of the businesses cater to the visitors to the island. There's many restaurants and cafes, small gift shops and art galleries that specialize in locally made arts and crafts, and these are littered throughout the main part of the town. Port Trudy is the main port and is where the ferry boat lands. A small house with about 500 square feet of interior space is considerably less expensive, but still not cheap. They cost about €250,000. So these are not really bargains by any measure. A foreign investor owning property in France pays additional tax that a local would not. This is particularly true if you're using the property as an investment property and renting it out. You'll find that the taxes wipe out pretty much any profit you were hoping to make. Financing in Europe is quite different from North America. The maximum leverage you can hope for is 50% loan to value. A stone house, or one made of concrete in the coastal climate, makes for a very durable house. The house is going to be standing long after your grandchildren are old and gone. But one of the biggest issues with owning a stone house in an area where there can be high humidity is mold. Mold can be incredibly difficult to get rid of and pose some real health issues. This island, like several along the coast of France, are wonderful places to visit. From an investment standpoint, these properties don't meet our investment criteria. A quick check of Airbnb shows 800 listings on an island with a population of 2,000. If you assume that each home has an average of 2 people, that might mean that as many as half the properties on the island are vacant and cater to island visitors. We encountered numerous visitors from France, Germany, Italy, Ireland, and the United Kingdom. Since many of the visitors are English-speaking, most of the locals speak English in addition to French. Individual building lots are fairly inexpensive here. They range anywhere from 70 to 100,000 euros for a single building lot. But construction costs are fairly high, especially if you're building out of stone or concrete. The hard construction cost is averaging about 400 euros per square foot. That's about 4 times the cost of wood frame construction in the United States. So it's not that surprising that it's much more difficult to make the numbers work here from an investment standpoint. So as always, live where you want to live, visit where you want to visit, and invest where the numbers make sense. As you think about that, have an awesome rest of your weekend. Go make some great things happen. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.